All right, and welcome back to Breslov Efrat here in Efrat, Baruch Hashem, back from our trip to the Rebbe. It's a great trip, Baruch Hashem. I wish everyone a good Vach and a Gemara Chasim Tova, Shavua Tov, and hope everyone had a very good Rosh Hashanah, and I hope your tshuva process is going well, getting ready for Yom Kippur. All right? Okay. And Baruch Hashem, we're going to continue learning with Siyata D'Shmaya, Likutey Halachos. We're learning Hilchas B'tzias Apas, breaking bread. Okay? Today we're up to Halacha Gimel. And we're going to learn about the ideas of breaking the bread now. Okay, so it says here. Isa b'mayma b'chatzotzros, which is Likutey Maran, lesson 5. We studied this before. We studied these concepts before, so you should know these concepts. Here we go. B'inyan hara'amim. When it comes to thunder, the idea of thunder. Remember we learned a lot about thunder? Remember we learned about thunder, right? The whole point of the thunder is to straighten out the crookedness in our hearts, right? There is no real purpose for thunder. It doesn't really do anything. But the purpose is to straighten our hearts out. Sometimes our heart's a little bit crooked, and you want to straighten them out to put us in the right derech Hashem. So therefore, Hashem makes the thunder. And sometimes the thunder is they're very strong, very loud, right? Right? You ever thunder? Sometimes they're frightening, right? They're very, very loud, and that's the whole point of them. It's to straighten out our minds, turn away our minds from all the strange thoughts and the thoughts of desires, all the different desires. The heart's the one that desires all the different things. That you shouldn't defile. Let's use that word. You shouldn't defile your mayach with the taivas. Okay? Yachmetz doesn't actually mean defile, but it means to be chometz. You shouldn't make it chometz. But in this case, you could actually translate it as to defile. V'tzarich ligor be'ilu ha'machshavos, and you have to battle with these machshavos, right? So the Rebbe spoke about that. That really, are you battling with them, or are you just going to change the thoughts? Remember, we spent a lot of time discussing that, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Because if you try to battle the machshava, actually, it gets stronger. But what you can do is you can change the machshava. So I'd like to say over here what the Rebbe says, Lil Chaim, he says, Ligor, you're fighting to change the thought. V'zeh bechinas matzah b'loshen meriva, that's what the word matzah comes from the word meriva. It's like a quarrel, it's a fighting, a fight. He's going to explain now. Now bechinas ga'ar chayas konda. Or he's bringing in over here a pasuk from in Tehillim. V'isa b'zoyer kona ches tishaber. He says the kona is the ches, the letter ches. You have to break it. Break the letter ches. V'tasa mimena hey. Make from the ches a hey. You have a ches. A ches is closed up, right? It's all closed. But if you break a hole in one of the legs of the ches, right, then it turns into a hay. Right? You ever think of that? A hay and a ches is really the same thing, right? A ches is just it's closed on the three sides, where the hay, it's not closed, there's a little doorway in there, right? So the Zohar is saying to take the kana, this reed, the kana, and break a hole into the ches, to make it into a hay. Why is that? Oh, so then take the word chometz and turn it into matzah. Oh, look at it, isn't it interesting? Chometz is ches mem tzadik. Mordechai, pay attention. Chometz is spelled ches mem tzadik. Matzah spelled mem tzadik hey. Take the ches, break a hole in the ches, turn it into a hey. Then it becomes a hey. So then they switch the letters around, and it's mem tzadik hey matzah instead of ches mem tzadik. Got it?
This sounds weird. It says, instead, break the neck of the letter, chet, make it into letter hey, transforming matzah into chometz. That sounds backwards.
No. That's wrong. You're turning the chometz into matzah.
Right. That's a mistake. Wow.
That's a big mistake. Wow. Yeah. That's a big mistake. Hainu sheloi tachmoit chachmasecha. You shouldn't again defile your thoughts. Hainu shetishmar es chachmascha sheloi yichnois by chachmais chitzonos sheloi tahara behurim royim, that you shouldn't wind up thinking about different things that you shouldn't be thinking about. In other words, the whole idea of the chometz is to defile the mind. So we want to break the chometz. We want to turn it into matzah. Now let's go back. Why are we talking about this? We said, now again, we're learning about bread, right? So we said, what constitutes to make something bread? You want to call something bread. It has to have flour and water. It has to have the basis had to have been at one point that had the possibility of being matzah, right? That's why the problem is if you take flour and you put juice in it, then it becomes the question: is it really bread, right? Because I put juice in there; it's not water. Then some people say, well, if you took juice that was concentrate and it's mostly water, so then it is water. So that's why most of those what do you call it? Those mizonos rolls that they tell you mizonos rolls, they're not really mizonos rolls. How many of them are really using real juice? How many of these bakeries are really using real juice? They can take apples and squeeze oranges, and use the real juice.
Apple concentrate everywhere.
Huh?
They use the concentrate. They have water in it.
I understand, but it's mostly water. It's mostly water. If you want to make real mizonos bread, if you wanted to do that, you'd have to take real juice, squeeze the juice, and then it becomes a question: is it a mizonos bread? But when it's using from concentrate, you take a little bit of this and you put so much water in there, it's water. Well, anyway. Again, that's why we're discussing the matzah, okay? Because again, the matzah, the bread, had to have been, that had the ability to become matzah, to be matzah. Then you add whatever ingredients you add to it, and then it becomes the bread, right?
They're saying this, they want us to clear our mind before we have bread.
Yeah, we learned about that, yeah. But he's going to explain. This is just the beginning. He's just developing a concept here, okay? Then you are saved from this idea of chometz, that's regarded as the side of death. Okay? Kedeisa machmetzes. The Zohar says machmetzes. The word machmetzes is actually the two words. It's a hybrid word of chometz meis. Machmetzes is chometz meis. Isn't that interesting? Okay. Vitamin kidei shetoshev mimoves l'chayim michometz l'matzah. You want to go from death to life. You want to come from chometz to matzah, right? Meches lahei, turn the ches into a hey. Ayin shah. Okay. Now we're going to learn. Now we're going to go into Aleph, and now he's going to explain all this. These were just the concepts based on lesson 5 in Likutey Moharan. Okay, these are the concepts from lesson 5. Aleph. And this is what it's called in Shulchan Aruch, B'tzias Pas. It's an interesting word that they used when you're talking about your Suda, they say it's B'tzias Pas. Why is it called B'tzias Hapas? Shekoru Rabbi Seinu Zal es hamevorech birchas hamaitzi b'shem b'tzeya. The one that makes the hamaitzi is called the guy that he breaks the bread. The guy that makes the hamaitzi is called the guy that breaks the bread. V'chinu es ikar habracha al shema b'tziya, and they gave an alias to the bracha to be called b'tziya. The bracha is changed over. We refer to it as the b'tziya. Kamay shamru, the Gemara in brachas on mem vav amid aleph. Balabayis b'tzeya. The balabayis. If you're in a house, right? You buy someone. You're a guest in somebody's house. Okay. So the Gemara says the balabayis is b'tzeya. The balabayis is the one that makes the hamaitzi, and he breaks the bread. Va'oirech mevarech, and then the oirech, the guest, he's the one that does the what do you call it? The Rabbi Semivel benching. He does the bara. That's the bracha. So now the question is, why is the first guy called the b'tzeya and the other one's called the mevarech? That's the question. You understand?
I thought it's mevorach the bracha Hashana. We go over here.
No, but the bracha Rishona is called the b'tzeya, okay. And he does the bracha. Mm-hmm. Interesting, right? Yeah. You look at the Gemara. The Gemara is discussing that. Okay. V'lama like karu es hamevarech birchas hamaitzi. Hey, how come we don't call the guy that makes the bracha on the bread? Why do we call him the bracha hamaitzi? Why are we calling him the b'tzeya? We call him the guy we refer to him as the guy that breaks the bread.
That is the guy who makes the blessing.
Yeah, the guy that makes the blessing. But why do we refer to him as the guy that breaks the bread? Why don't we just say he's the guy that makes the hamaitzi lechem in aretz? Right? V'lama karu es hamaitzi b'brichas hamaitzi gam came b'shem avarach hamaitzi. In other words, you call the second guy, you call him avarach. So why can't you call the first guy the mavarach? And that's what we're going to discuss right now. Okay. Bechol mokaim nikra birchas hamaitzi v'chein ikra achilas lechem b'shem b'tzeya o peiros. Anytime you're talking about bread, you're always going to talk about it as a shame by tzeya, to break it, the peiros, to make slice or whatever. K'maisha kosav oilim she'olu lechem peiros ein lahem. Right? The children were asking to eat bread, and they didn't have any pieces of bread or anything. K'maisha kosav loy peiros leroiv lachmecha v'chein kama mekoymos shemechuna achilas lechem b'shem peiros u'b'tzeya. Many examples that you talk about bread, we're talking about the peiros or we're talking about the b'tzeya. So the idea of breaking bread, and that's how whenever you're referring to bread, it's referring to the breaking of the bread. V'chein ba'al hashulchan aruch kol halachos v'dinim shel birchas hamaitzi kara b'shem hilchos b'tzias hapas. And in Shulchan Aruch, the section in Shulchan Aruch that discusses the Suda, right? It's called the Halachos of B'tzias Hapas. It's very interesting. Shenira she'iku hu ha'b'tzia. Also, it must mean that the whole point, the main point, is actually the breaking of the bread, right? Because everyone's referring to, any time the Torah is referring to bread, it's referring to the B'tzeya or Peiros, or at any time in Shulchan Aruch, it's referring to the B'tzeya. The Zayir says there are many different wondrous things when it comes to breaking of the bread. We learned some of them. We learned the idea that there's a neshama in the bread, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes it that the neshama, the soul that's in the bread goes into the part that's a little bit more dark. Remember, we learned that idea, right? To give you the Yiras Hashem, when you see the fire, when you see the darker part, right? Why do we do
the slicing and not the breaking?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we do slicing, not the breaking?
Oh, Shabbos weeks. No. So during the week you can during the week you can break the bread. Mm-hmm. Shabbos we don't break the bread because the Tzedukim said you can't cut the challah. So we specifically cut the challah.
Tzedukim?
Yeah, those guys that didn't believe in Torah, the Torah Shabbal Peh. What? I don't know. There's something with that. There's something to do with that. I remember.
But during the week, we should
break the bread. Yeah, you don't need to cut the bread during the week. You don't need to, no. You just break the bread and that's it. Okay. Okay, okay, so that's the idea. Now we understand there's something special with we're building on this now. There's something special when it comes to the beitzia, the piece of bread, the cutting of the bread, all of these things. There's something special when it comes to this and why it's called that. Okay? Now let's go to Beis. What?
But during the week I might want to make a sandwich.
So make a sandwich.
So that would cut the bread, I wouldn't break it.
Yes, so cut
okay?
the bread. Yes, you could do it, of course. So then but then on your sandwich, so with the part that's darker, the bread, it was darker, so eat that part first. That's the same thing. Okay. Yeah. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, exactly, perfect. We're going to talk about Pesach, why we break Sheldon, you're right on track. He had already looked ahead. Okay, whatever. Okay. Kikol Yisrael Am Kadosh. Beis. Kikol Yisrael Am Kadosh. Because all Jews are holy. Ki achilosam tzarich liyas b'kedusha. Therefore, when we eat, we have to eat with a level of sanctity, right? V'bechinas achila matzah. It has to be all with the kedusha, like when you eat your matzah, you're eating with a high level of sanctity, right? So when you eat your sandwich or whatever you're eating, you also have to remember to eat it on a level of sanctity, okay? Because when you're eating chometz and you have those chometz ideas, that's the side of death. That's not good. What?
Bread is chometz, right?
Yeah, but again, we said that the bread, you focus on the fact that your bread was a matzah at one time. Yeah. Because all of our eating, we're trying to always make rectifications again for the mistake that Adam and Chava made when they ate from the Eitz Hadas Tov Hara. Now, why we're eating, their mistake was pertaining eating, right? They ate the fruit, whatever it was, whatever that thing that they ate. There's a big argument. Who doesn't matter. Whatever it was, they ate it. Whatever it was, they ate it. Okay? So now when we eat, and we eat with Kedusha, we're making rectifications for that original hate of the eating. Sha'azai ayidei zeh hamachal nishlam hadas b'yoser v'zeh bechinas matzah. And then when you have your das, again, when you recognize, when I eat my bread, this is the bread that Hashem gave to me. You realize it's something special that Hashem gave me this bread. And you have that das, you recognize Hashem in your meal. And we said you can get to the highest level of Aras Haratzah when you're eating if you recognize Hashem. And you feel that gratitude to Hashem that He gave you your food. Right?
What do you mean by gave us our food when you say that?
Hashem gives you your food to eat. Like the man.
He gave it to us. Well, yeah, He dropped. But what about today? We don't.
Hashem doesn't give you your food, right?
Well, it's all from Hashem. But I don't know that He gave it to me.
He didn't give it
indirectly, maybe. That's what I'm
yeah, He gave it to you indirectly. Yeah. So when you have the food in front of you, realize that food was given to you by Hashem. Because Hashem gave you the money. Hashem gave you the wherewithal to make the money. Right? He gave you the ability to make the money. Hashem gave you the ability to go to the store. Hashem gave you whatever, that your car worked, everything. Yeah. It's all from Hashem. So recognize when you're eating what Hashem gave to you. It's something very, very special. All right? That you're eating something with that, and you're supposed to have the proper thoughts, holy thoughts and clearing thoughts of what you're eating. I'm not eating for the sake of eating. I'm eating to give me vitality in order to serve you, Hashem. Right? That's why I'm eating. That's what we said that when you're eating during the week, that's the thoughts. When it comes to Shabbos, when it comes to the Chag, so then you're eating to enjoy the food, because that's the mitzvah of the matamim of the food on Shabbos. Different. Shabbos is the food is very, very lofty. The food changes. During the week, the food's very low. And then I have to have the right machshavas in order to lift the food up. When it comes to Shabbos, that same food becomes very lofty, and then the food can lift me up. You understand the difference? That's what we learned. We learned the idea that you don't eat before davening, right? You don't eat before davening because the food is low, right? And if you eat before davening, what it's going to do, the food is going to pull you down, right? But when it comes to Shabbos, the food's very high, right? So therefore, if some people will make a mezainis on Shabbos morning, they'll eat something Shabbos morning because shul is later, whatever it is, the daven's later, right? They'll do that. Why? Because again, it's not going to pull them down. See the difference, right? Okay, we learned these concepts. This is not new. This is not a new concept. The chet of Adam Arishan was that he ate from the tree of knowledge, good and bad. That's the idea of the Chometz, right? Again, he didn't have the right das, right? When he ate it, he was thinking, the Nachash said, I can become a god. I can become a creator as well, right? So that's the opposite of recognizing Hashem. That, of course, is from the Sitra D'Maisa, and that's why he brought death upon mankind, right?
What's interesting is that Adam is supposed to be a creator, like he creates down here on earth things like.
No, the Nachash told him, Hashem told you not to eat from this tree because Hashem ate from the tree, and that's how he became Hashem. So he doesn't want any competition. So therefore, don't eat from the tree, he told you. So Adam says, I want to be like Hashem. So he ate from the tree. You understand?
I understand that. And, set that aside for a moment, didn't Hashem put us here so he could create, like he creates?
We don't create. What do we create? What do we create? What do you create?
I read that in the...
We co-create.
Huh?
We co-create. We do something. We work in this world.
But it's all with Hashem. It's not there's nothing that we're not doing anything.
Co-creating.
You what? Procreate?
Co-create. Co-create, like with Hashem.
Okay, but you're using that's the point. You're with Hashem.
Yeah.
The Nachash told him he's going to do it all by himself.
Right. No.
Yeah.
You understand that you'll do it all by yourself. That's the side of death.
Doesn't make so much sense.
Hashkayach, the Sunday morning, the Monday morning quarterback, right? Or whatever they call it. What do they call him? The Monday morning. What do they say that with the football, right?
The Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah, the Monday morning. Yes.
I say, but Adam Rishon, he should have said to the Nachash, wait a minute, who created the tree?
Who created you?
Who created you?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, but Shalom, we said that any time a person is being tested, it's only because nichnas by he gets a raw shtus.
Yeah.
The raw shtus comes in. When you have the raw shtus, you don't think that way. If that was the case, no one would ever do an aveira. Right? It would be nice, right? All right. Bechinas Chometz Sitra D'Maisa. Bechinas ki beyoyim achalacha mimenu, the day that you eat from it, you'll surely die. Daim the bechinas machal shal yadei al yodai nis arvev hamayach umes chametz b'machshava zorais, and then the mind gets all confused, the mind gets all intertwined. And then the next thing he's thinking about these strange thoughts, like
Was it a spiritual death as opposed to a physical death?
It was a physical death. He died. Man die. People die. There was no death before that. There was no concept of death.
So death was created. It wasn't that he died.
No. The concept of death existed, but it wasn't. Hashem said, if you eat it, the day you eat it, you're going to die. But there was no death before that. He was the first man that was created, remember? No one died yet.
But he didn't die from eating it, though.
He brought upon death from the eating of it.
Okay.
Death was created, right? The Tov Me'od.
Yes.
There was a concept already.
Yeah.
Then he just implemented it on himself, kind of.
We could have avoided the whole death process.
Yeah, it just seemed to me he also, because he went from Gan Eden to the physical world.
Yeah, well, all right. All right, here we says Zeh bechinas eitz hadas toivera dahainu shal yedei achila zu nifkam hadas b'nis arev toivera. So his mind got polluted, right? His mind got, we'll call it polluted in this case, b'nis arev toivera. And then the good and the bad got intertwined, right? They got intertwined. The good and the bad got intertwined. And that's how the possibility came for saying that good is bad and bad is good, as the world does today, right? Right. Now,
You were saying that the concept of death existed outside of Gan Eden. That's why the Rishon, after he sinned.
well, nothing yet died.
I know, but then he had to be taken out of Gan Eden because he couldn't.
He was chased out of Gan Eden,
And then he went to a place where there was death.
but the Svarim say he could have really gone back to Gan Eden. He just didn't think he can get past those malachim with the spinning sword. He could have gone back. But all right, whatever. It's all. Again, here's the example that you don't want to allow the bad thoughts into your mind. That's chometz, and it doesn't lead you to anything good. So the whole point is to change the chometz into the ches, change the ches into the hay. Not like that book said. Change the ches
They fixed it
into the
later.
hay. Oh, they what?
They did it correctly later on.
Oh, okay.
So it was just that one place that was messed up. But
Yeah, you can't trust that thing. You see that? Okay. All right. Chometz. Heipich eitz hachayim, which is the opposite of the eitz hachayim, true bechinas matzah. The eitz hachayim is matzah. Right? There was another tree. There was the tree of good and the tree of knowledge, good and bad, and then there was the tree of life. The tree of knowledge, good and bad, had in it good life and in it had death. Good life, bad death. Okay, then it got mixed. But the Eitz HaChaim, the tree of life, that was matzah. That's all good. Shu bechinas chayim, that's the idea of life. V'aydei chet adam arishon, niskalkala lahadama, the ground got cursed. The ground was cursed. Bechinas beitzvayin teichlenu. You'll eat your bread with depression. B'zeyas hapecha teichalechem. You'll eat your bread via the sweat of your brow. Vayadei nifkamun, this arvu kol hamacholim. All of the foods got blemished, right? There was begam, and this arvu kol hamacholim, and all foods got mixed into this mess. Ad shekulim tzrichen beirer, until they all need to be clarified. Befrat halechem, specifically bread, specifically of all of them. Shu ikar chiyas ha'adam, that's the ikar chiyas of Adam, that's the main chiyas of mankind, that's the staple, I guess you could say, that's the staple of man, is bread. Sham tzrichem beirurim habe, it needs a lot of clarification, right? The bread needs, and we said there are 10 different things that you need to do to be able to make bread, where you could take an apple off the tree and just eat it. Right? You can take a pear off the tree and eat it, a peach, whatever you want, eat it off the tree. But bread, you have to work. It's a whole thing to make the bread. So on Erev Yantif, when we were learning, David, your friend, David fell. Okay, so okay. David had his friend from St. Louis there. So he asked the question. He says, "So, if remember your friend asked the question, he said, so if that's the case, if bread, you're working so hard on it." So then you would you would think that that's further away from Hashem, right? That's what he wanted to know. So he said no. So the answer was no. Even though the bread that you're working so hard, but you realize all the work that you're doing is that you only could do the work because Hashem allows you to do it. Remember? Okay. All right. Anyway. And that's why you have so many different tasks, right? You have so many different tasks and chores to be able to do before you can actually have the bread. You have to plow and plant, right? There are many, many different mitzvahs like we learned. Right, you have the Matzah Rishon and Sheni, Matzah Oni, and you don't do what do. You don't do Kilayim. All All the things that we learned about, all the beautiful mitzvahs that pertaining to the land and the things about doing. Ki kol ki al yedei ha-mitzvahs hatluyos bepas hayne mitzvahs hatluyos becharisha kigoin loy tachve shor bechamor. Hey, here, you can't, when you plow, don't put the shor together with the chamor. You can't have your ox plowing together with the donkey. Right? You can't have a donkey and an ox plowing together. You can have two donkeys or two oxen, but you don't mix the two animals. You don't mix them. Right? The kiyotze v'chein bezriya, when it comes to zriya, kiyotze kiyesh eser mitzvahs bepas. There are 10 different mitzvahs when it comes to pas. When it comes to bread, we learned that, right? Mordechai, you know that, right? We all learned that. We learned those concepts. Ayidei mitzvahs elu hatluyas bepas. Ayidei zen is bara alechem izum asanachash mechet. Adam Arishan, that's how you're able to clarify the bread from and the mess that Adam Arishan put us into by eating from the tree of knowledge, good and bad. Which is the aspect of the curse of the itzvah and taichleno, that you can eat your bread with depression. If you don't do the mitzvahs, so then your bread is actually bread of depression. If you eat your bread the right way and you do the mitzvahs that pertain to the bread, right? And then you make the right brachas and you do the betziyah the way you're supposed to do the betziyah. So then the bread is not beitzvah and teichlenu. You're freeing yourself from the curse of the ground. You understand? You could free yourself from the curse of the ground by doing the mitzvahs to do it, to clarify it. You understand it? And then the bread is worthy for man to eat it. We said, wow, who's man? A man that has das. We established that, right? Someone that has das is considered an Adam. Someone that doesn't have das is not considered an Adam. He may look, it's not considered a human being. He may look like a human being. He may talk like a human being, but he's not a human being. Right? He's a clone. He's not a human being. He's not a human being. A person that has das, that can clarify everything, that person is considered a human. Gemar haberer hu b'shas habracha. And how do you complete the whole process? When you're making the blessing on the bread. The whole thing, all of that stuff, all came to the fact that to allow you to make this bracha. You can't make the bracha hamaitzi if you didn't do all of those things. Right? So all of those things that you did is all to allow you to make the bracha hamaitzi. Isn't that beautiful? It's amazing. Because the bracha itself is what takes it out from the curse and it makes it into blessing. That's why the bracha is called bracha, blessing. You make the blessing, why? To take it out of the curse. Every time you make a blessing on your food, you're taking the food out of the category of curse and you're turning it into blessing. Is that amazing? Now you want to know someone, why do I need to make a blessing on my food? Oh, do you want to eat food that's cursed? Or do you want to eat food that's blessed? Oh, if you want to eat food that's blessed, so make a bracha on it. Nice and simple, right? Very simple to understand, right? There's a klala on the ground, be'itzvah and teichlenu, right? The ground was cursed. How do you redeem the ground from the curse, the food from the curse? Make a bracha on it, then it becomes blessed. Dainu mimash in his klala adama ayidei ched adam arishon umevarin oisa yamalin oisa miklala levracha. Now you're lifting it up, you're elevating the bread from the klala to the bracha. So during the week, the bread all is the klala. So it's low. That's why we say we have to daven. They lift it up. Shabbos, the food becomes bracha because of the mitzvah of Shabbos and the tanug of Shabbos. So the bracha, the bread becomes bracha. You understand? So that's why you can eat it on. You understand how it works? Okay. When the bread is clarified and it's able to be eaten by a yid, azai hu bechinas matzah hu bechinas eitz achayim bechinas kedushas hadas. Right? Then you're taking the bread from the category of chometz. You're putting it into the category of matzah because you broke the ches and you made it into the hay. So you turned the ches mem tzaddik into the mem tzaddik hay. and you made it into a matzah, which is das, which is kedusha, okay? Heipach bechinas chametz, which is the opposite of the chametz, which is the bechina of sitra de maisa, which is the klala, right? Shehu pigam adas bechinas eitz adas taivera. Ki achilas Yisrael tzrichen liyos tamid bechinas achilas matzah. Because when we eat, even during the year, every time we eat, we have to eat with that same level of matzah. And remember it. And how do you remember it? Because the bread is only bread because it had matzah, the properties of matzah in it to begin with.
Practically.
Huh?
Practically, what does it mean? How do I eat bread with the bechinas matzah?
Recognize it's Hashem. Recognize the 10 different mitzvahs that went into making the bread. Recognize the 10 mitzvahs that went into breaking the bread. Make the bracha on the bread. Take the bread out of klola, the itzva in teichlenu, bring it into bracha. Why can't you do that? You're making a bracha anyway, right? You're doing it, right? You don't eat your bread without a bracha, right? You're washing your hands, right? You're doing all of those things anyway. So now recognize, wait a second, this bread is cursed. I am now taking it out of klola and bringing it into bracha via the bracha. It's very simple. It's not hard to do. Right? Do you agree? Does everyone here agree, right? You're making the bracha anyway. So wait a second. Why am I making the bracha? Oh, because it's be'itzva and teichlana. I want to get out of this atzvus. I don't want to do this depression. So how do I get out of it? I make the bracha. Chazal say that the Torah was only given to those that ate man. Man is like matzah, right? Man hu bechinas matzah k'may sham b'seinu zchal uga shayitziyu Yisrael miMitzrayim. The Gemara in Kedushin says Lamed Ches Amud Aleph uga shayitziyu Yisrael miMitzrayim, that those cakes or whatever they took out of Mitzrayim, the hainu matzahs tamu bahem tam man. They had in them the tam of man. Remember we said when you eat your bread, bread has the characteristics of all foods of the world, everything. Any taste. When you eat your bread, you can imagine eating anything. The same way when they ate the man. If you believed in it, right? That was the thing we learned, remember? Those that didn't believe in the power of the man, didn't believe in the man came from Hashem, and they didn't believe in that it had the ability to give them the taste and the flavor of anything they wanted, it didn't give it to them. Those that believed in it, they imagined anything they wanted and they were able to taste it while they ate their bread. The same thing was when we eat our bread now. Right? You can enjoy anything you'd like while you're eating your bread. You can think about anything you'd like and have it to taste in the bread itself. Because if you merit to eat with a level of sanctity and purity, so then you could clarify the food. Here you go, Sasha. You want to know how you do it, right? Mm-hmm. So if you eat with purity and sanctity, so then you can do this. Hayadei bracha, through the blessing. It's not hard. It's not hard to do it. We're anyway making the blessing. So you recognize when I'm making the blessing, I'm lifting up the food. Which is the sanctity of the mind. As it's understood and it's felt. And Rabbi Nachman speaks about it in many places, lesson 17. In other places also. Therefore, you have to eat. When you eat with a level of kedusha and tahara, and that's why they instituted. Remember, we learned you wash your hands when you eat your bread. Remember, Sasha, right? When you want to eat, if you want to eat a pomegranate, or you want to eat a date, or you want to eat a fig, you want to eat any of the zayaminim, right? You don't wash your hands, right? You want to eat olives, you don't wash your hands to eat olives, right? Right? You want to eat honey, dates, you don't wash your hands for that. But we said the bread, you have to wash your hands. Because again, if you want to be able to experience this thing with bread, Chazal said, go wash your hands. Because we said, the hands have all the sin on it. All the sins are on the hands. Right? They're all on the hands. So we said we wash our hands, wash off all the sin from the thing. So that brings me to the level of purity. How do I get the level of Kedusha? I make the bracha. We have when you wash your hands to eat bread and you make the bracha on it, you're actually doing this, you're accomplishing this. But now you're just learning why Chazal instituted to do these things and what you're accomplishing by washing your hands, what you're accomplishing by making the bracha. Okay? In order for a person to merit, to have clean thoughts, and pure thoughts, so those you can clean up your thoughts while you're eating your bread. When you recognize that it came to you from Hashem, when you washed off the sin that was on your hands through the washing, right? When you take the cup and you wash your hands with the water, we said that the water comes from the upper waters, the Mei Elyon, right? That water comes from the Mei, and that water comes and washes off all of the sin. Then you lift up those hands and you say, Su Yedechem Kodesh V'Baruch Es Hashem, right? Su Yedechem, you lift up your hands, I lift up my hands and to bless God. Then I say, Al Netilas Yadayim, right? Then I make the bracha Hamaitzi Lechem Minars, 10 words in the bracha to 10 mitzvos, right? I put my 10 fingers on the bread. Remember all these things we learned, Sasha? Right? When you hold your 10 fingers, you say the bracha has 10 words in the bracha, right? And there's 10 mitzvahs to do to make the bread together. How do I, so all of that is now, but the bread's not complete until I make the bracha. When I make the bracha, Hamaitzi Lechem Minars, I lift up the bread.
So we have the 10 steps in making the bread, and then we have the 10 words in the motzi.
And you have your 10 fingers.
And the 10 fingers. Yeah.
How do you like that, right? And you have the 10 spheros, the 10 spheros too. Right? You're connecting all the 10s together. Yeah, it's amazing. Listen, we're doing this anyway. Now that's the most beautiful thing with Likutey Halachos, Sasha. Rav Nosson is not telling you to do anything that you're not doing anyway. You go home, you can eat your bread, you make a sandwich, or whatever you're going to do anyway. You can eat anyway. So realize, hey, wait a second, when I'm eating my bread, look what I'm accomplishing. Isn't that awesome? He didn't tell you to do anything that you don't do anyhow. Right? You're doing the same things. But he's just showing you the beauty behind what you're doing. Most people have no idea. They have no idea why I'm washing my hands. Has to do with tshuva. I'm washing the sin. I'm washing my hands. The Shulchan Aruch says I wash my hands. And the Shulchan Aruch says I make the bracha. And the Shulchan Aruch says it's called B'tzias Apas. What they care why it's called B'tzias Apas. And this guy, he's called him a people don't think about it. But it's all there. And Rav Nosson is just showing us the beauty in the mitzvahs. You understand, right? Okay. Let's finish the piece, okay? Now, the ikar bechinas matzah hu al yedei shemevarin koneh ches. How do you do this? By breaking the ches. By breaking the ches is breaking all the cuckoo thoughts in our heads, in our hearts. Right? We want to break that ches. We want to break the ches and turn it into the hay. You got to break the ches, you got to break the chometz, all of those stupid things, and you make the hole in it. So then all the junk can go out, right? If you have a hole, right, the things can go out and things can go in, right? If it's locked, you can't get in, right? The ches is standing on a line. So the bottom is closed because there's a line, right? It can't get out the bottom. The top is closed. The right is closed, the left is closed. But I take the koneh and I bust a hole in the left on the left side of the foot, right? I make a hole in it, then I turn it into the hay. Then I can take out all the cuckoo stuff that's in the ches. You understand? Hey, I make it into a hay. Hey, the bracha hamaitzi. Oh, wait a minute, Hey, Sasha. Hey, Sasha, look at this. You say, ha. Maitzi lechem min haaretz. Why do I need that? Could have been Maitzi lechem min haaretz. Bayri pri haaretz.
Sounds better.
Because you know it, but you don't need it. It's showing you. That's showing you. Wait, why is there a hay over there? Again, Sasha, he's just showing you. You have all of these things. He's just showing you. Hey, ha, Maitzi. Hey, it's a hay. This is matzah. This is not chometz. Ha maitzi. Huh? The hay. Right? Okay. Hey, the hamaitzi. Shetzrichen lehatim. Hey, the hamaitzi. Kimay shamar chazmenizal. When you make the bracha, hamaitzi, emphasize the hey. Do you ever do that?
Yeah.
You make the bracha, when you make the bracha, hamaitzi lechemin ha'aretz. There's a hey and a hey. So emphasize the hey. Because that's the whole idea that matzah is the main point, because that's where the kedusha comes from, that's where the sanctity comes from. He bechinas ahei ayedei shemeshabrin kona ches v'oisim imena hey, by breaking the kona, by breaking that the leg of the ches. And you turn it into the hay. That's how you get it. Okay. That's why you have to break the bread. Now you get it? You're breaking the bread. Why? Because you're breaking the ches of the chometz to make it into a hay, to matzah. Sasha, you get it? That's why they call it betzias hapas. Breaking the bread. I'm breaking the chometz in the bread, the kuku. They think that it's bezeyas apecha toichalech. You understand? Bezeyas apecha toichalech bekoichem aitzi yasamli asali esachayel azeh. All of that stuff, because I worked so hard. That's why I made the money, and I was so smart. I figured out how to make this bread, and I'm eating the bread that I make. No, that's all chometz. That's all chometz. Betzias apras. Break that. Break that. Realize it's really only Hashem. Acha brocha l'ramei sha'oz al yedei ha-brocha maitzian apas mi-chometz l'matzah. So you're taking the chometz, you're taking the bread that's chometz, you're turning it back into the matzah. Okay, you can't do this on Pesach, okay? This works for during the year. This does not work for Pesach. You can't say, hey, I'm going to take my bread, I'm going to break the bread on Pesach, and it'll be matzah. That doesn't work. Okay, right? Okay, just a disclaimer, okay? All right, okay. Shemeshabrim kona ches v'oisim imena hey ayedei merames habetzia ki ika haberer masha beitzia nemeshabrin es hapas b'shas brocha daika. I break the bread when I make the bracha. I say ha moitzi lechem and I break the bread. You understand that? Ha moitzi, the hay. I'm breaking the ches. Ha moitzi lechem in haaretz, right? And then I break the bread, and I'm breaking the ches, I'm breaking the chometz out of the bread, and I'm turning it into the matzah, to the hay. You got it? You're not excited about it? I don't know.
It's like I'm absorbing it, I'm thinking about it, so
It's new
for us. So
it's an amazing concept. No, but again, you're doing all the same things. So he's showing you.
Right.
In the bracha, we learned these new concepts today. It's called breaking bread. Why is it called breaking bread? Because I'm trying to break the chometz in the bread. I want to turn it back into matzah. Why? Because I have to have it turned into man. Man, the Torah was only given to those that ate the man. Right? When we went out of Mitzrayim, we went out of Mitzrayim with the uga. The Gemara in Kedushin said that was the same thing as man. Right? It was able to have any taste that we wanted. And we learned before that the bread has any taste that you want it to have. How do you get the bread to have any taste that you want it to have? It has to go back to matzah. How do you turn it back into matzah? Via doing the 10 mitzvahs that pertain to the bread. Via making the bracha, ha maitzi lechem in haaretz, ha maitzi. I'm taking the ches, I'm breaking it. And then how do I demonstrate that I'm actually doing that? By breaking the bread. You understand? I demonstrate.
some of it spiritually, though, not.
Yeah, no, no, but I'm also physically doing it.
At the end, you're physically breaking the bread. Yeah,
I understand. Yeah. So it's spiritual, and it's physical. Up the upper world, the lower world, and I bring them together by actually breaking the bread.
So it seems weird to me as you're making bread into matzah,
Yes,
but it doesn't look or feel or crack like matzah.
that's fine. It doesn't matter.
That's why I say it's more of a spiritual or.
Again, what made the bread a possibility to be bread? It had to have flour and water.
Right.
And then it turned into the chometz because of what they put in. They put the eggs in and they let it rise. They put yeast in, right? Or they made it sourdough, machmetzet, right? Machmetzet, right? Now, Chometz mace, right? Soya says, right? Interesting, right? What? Okay, but you can take it, but no, when you're eating your machmetzet, and when you break the bread, you're breaking the Chometz mace and you're turning it into matzah. So it could be that's the greatest bread to eat, because when you eat that bread, you're taking it from the Chometz mace. Machmetzet, Zoya says it's Chometz mace. And you're turning it into now matzah. Big transformation. Okay. B'chaynes habetzia shezeh ikar haberer masha betzia lemashaber esapas b'shas brocha. The fact that I break the pas while I break the bread while I'm making the bracha, right? Via with the bracha. Shemarame shemaitzia esapas mechometz lamatzah. I'm demonstrating. I'm taking the bread out of the category of bread, and I'm putting it into the category of matzah. Alright? That's when I break the leg of the ches, and I make it into the hay. The main point is to take it out of the category of chometz and to make it into matzah. Again, we said the Gemara asked, why is it? Why we wanted to know why is the guy that what do you call it? The balabayas, he's boitzeya, va'oirech is mevorech. Why weren't they both called the same thing, avarech? Now we understand why they're not called the same. We're talking about the boitzeya because he's the guy that's really taking this matzah and the chometz and turning it into the matzah, and then the other guy can make the bracha because he already made the rectification. You understand? You need the balabas, the what do you call it? The person that you're eating by, right? He's the balabas, right? So you need him to make the betzia. He makes the bracha, makes the betzia. He breaks the bread. He takes the chametz and he turns it into matzah. He brings it to the kedusha because it's his bread. You understand? When you're eating by somebody's house, right? So the guy has the bread. So it's upon him, because it's his bread, to recognize that this bread that he's eating is the bread that came to him via Hashem. You understand? How does he do? When he makes the bracha, the 10 words in the bracha, 10 fingers on the bread, and then he takes the bread and he breaks the bread, because he takes the kana, he breaks the ches from the chometz and he turns it into matzah. Yeah, we got it? Okay. Because matzah is like an idea of the piece. Here, look what he says now. Oh, here you go, Shalom. See that? That's why we break the piece of matzah, right? Before, by the Haggadah, right? We break remember when we break the middle matzah? Yeah. Right? Why do you break it? Hey, wait a second. And I'm making the bracha al achilas matzah on the prusa, on the small piece, on that smaller piece. We break the middle matzah, we take the bigger piece, and we put the bigger piece away, why? For the afikomen. The smaller piece stays there, right? And when you make the hamaitzi, you take the bottom matzah, you take the other matzah, and you make the bracha on the prusa, on the piece. Not on the whole thing, on the piece.
On the piece, yeah.
Here we go. Now watch this. Ala prusa daika ki ikar hamatzah hu bechinas prusa dainu aidesha meshabrin kana ches v'oisim imena hay. Break the ches, turn it into the hay. It's always about breaking the ches and turning it into the hay. Why? Because the hay, you have a way out. Hay is tshuva. Hay is tshuva. We're going to learn about Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu, they added his name. They added his name to be Avraham, a hay, right? Remember, he brought Hashem in there. And then Avraham Avinu had to buy the Amaras Mapela, who? Achiti. The Ches. He had to break that. We're going to learn so many beautiful things about the Ches and the hay, okay? Okay. Val came person oz bepesach koydem birchas hamaitzi. Therefore, before the bracha of hamaitzi, we broke the matzah. Ze ikar hamatzah shekvar nif risah v'nishabra koydem birchas hamaitzi. I broke it before the hamaitzi even on Pesach. All right. The haynu shekvar nishbar kol ches. Because in that case, you watched the matzah, and when it comes to Pesach, you actually watched the matzah. You asked about this question. On Pesach, you actually watched it, that it didn't turn into chametz. You started with flour and water, you didn't add anything else, and you rolled it and you baked it before the 18 minutes, you watched it that it didn't become chametz. So you really broke the ches. You really broke it. And we demonstrate that because then we break the matzah. Because on Pesach we're eating matzah mamash. We're actually eating actual matzah. Therefore the mitzvah is with a piece to teach us this idea. You don't have to wait till you break it when you make the bracha. It was already matzah. When it's a regular day, like today, if you're gonna eat your pas shachris, and you do it, so then you're gonna have to make the bracha first, and then you break the bread, because you have to first make the bracha to lift it from the klola to the bracha, right? The bracha. So how do you do that from the bracha? Then you break it. But when it comes to Pesach itself, you already did that. It didn't become chametz. It is matzah. So I could break it beforehand. I don't need the bracha because it's already matzah. It's already matzah. Therefore, I don't need the bracha to be able to break it because it's already matzah. It never turned to chametz. I don't have to turn the chametz back into matzah. Normally, we're taking the chametz and we're turning it into matzah. How do you take the chametz and make it into matzah? I break the ches, which is the ches mem tzadik. I break the ches. I turn the ches into a hay. By turning the ches into the hay, it turns into the mem tzadik hay. Matzah. Right? Got it? So that's what I'm doing all the time. But when it comes to Pesach, I already did that. So therefore, I don't need to first make the bracha. Therefore, I can break it first. It's so beautiful how Nassan is showing us how this works l'maisa, the whole system. How when you're eating, you want to turn your bread back into matzah. How do you turn your bread into matzah? Via making the bracha on the bread. Because why do I want to do that? Because I want to take the bread out of the category of klola. I want to bring the bread into the category of bracha. How do I do that? I make the bracha. Then I make it blessed. I elevate it. Got it? And once I elevated it, now I can break it. Now again, that's why it's called b'tzias hapas. Okay, we got this? I know it's a lot of information, but it's really great.
But we have to say a blessing, like when it is matzah on Pesach and we break it, we still have to say the blessing.
But we broke it first.
Right.
Before the blessing.
We break it before the blessing.
Right.
The bread, you break.
You have to first make the blessing and then you can break it.
From bread.
Right, but with matzah, we say it after we broke it.
Right.
Yes. Because it's already, because the ches was already broken. It's already matzah.
So now we're just blessing the food.
We don't have to make that tikkun.
We don't have to make the tikkun. Okay.
It's already, the tikkun was done. But during the year, I have to make the tikkun always. That's why I first make the blessing on it. I lift it up. I take it from klala, from curse. I bring it into blessing via making the blessing.
Well, what if I have matzah during the year?
Yeah, okay.
Do I have to...
Okay, you still by the end you're still going to do the same process. You're not going to break it before because again, we're learning this as far as bread. If you want to eat matzah, you can eat matzah, no problem to eat matzah. Okay, as long as you're an Ashkenazi, it's no problem. Sfaradim don't eat matzah during the year, right?
They eat.
They make, now you understand, right? But they don't eat as a suda. They don't need. They're not kaveh. What?
If they kaveh suda, I think.
Then they can. No, but if they want to eat just a piece of matzah, if you want to eat a piece of an Ashkenazi wants to eat a piece of matzah, you wash. You want to eat a kazayas. A Sephardi, he wants to eat a kazayas, he's not going to wash. He's going to make him his onos.
Looks like a cracker.
For example, let's say you have a bunch of different dips, right? A bunch of different dips. And you have matzah. So the Sephardi goes over there, makes him his onos, and he dips into all the things, and he has his dips. He enjoys, no problem, right? Right? But if I have to, we're Ashkenazis, so we're going to wash on the matzah, and then we'll have the dips. You understand?
What about when we break? I'm trying to.
What are you trying to?
No, I don't have to say the blessing before I break the matzah.
No. This is only during the year. You always do the same thing.
Okay.
You do the same thing. Only Pesach is different at the Seder. Only at the Seder, because Seder is the time that you have the greatest das.
The das. Okay.
It's only at the Seder, right? During the other 6 days of Pesach, you don't break the matzah first.
Right. Okay.
You don't even do it at Pesach. This is only at the Seder. Let's clarify, okay? Good, you said that. This is clarify. This is only at the Seder. Any other time you can eat matzah, you're still gonna hold. You have the shleimim, right? You use a sholem. You have to use shleimim. You have to use okay. You have a what do you call it? That's Yedidim. Yeah, there we go. See that? Baruch Hashem. I know when he makes that noise. I know. Yeah. Ki az oichle matzah mamish v'al keinika mitzvasa b'prusa l'rameis ki to teach us ki ein tzrichen lahamtin l'shvira. I don't have to wait till to break it. Ad sheyavarchu aleh ki hu kvar nasa matzah mamish v'al kein take of mishaber noisa. Therefore, we can break it right away. At the Seder, right? At the Seder, we break the middle matzah. We put away half of it for the Afikoyim. We keep the middle one there, which is the Levi, matzah Levi, right? And okay, there we go. Kizeh ikar bechinas matzah. That's the main thing. So tomorrow we're going to learn about why is it called lechem oini and the prusa in Mitzvah Hashem. Now let's learn, please. Okay, do we understand this? Again, you're not doing anything different, okay? You go home, you eat everything the same, but now you understand what you're doing. Now you understand why I'm making the bracha, what I accomplished by making it. I'm taking the food out of the bracha, out of the category of curse, and I'm bringing it into blessing. Isn't that great?
Well, that's kind of like you said when we have a Suda, we're turning the food into something good, not the carcass.
Right. No, we have Torah at the meal.
Right.
When you have Torah at the meal, you're not eating from Zifrei Mesim, right? Otherwise, you're eating from the okay. All right, let's learn halacha in Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. We're in Chav Vav, Siman Chav Vav, the Dine Kaddish Yosem, right? We're learning about the different things of Kaddish Yosem. Does anyone remember where we're up to?
Number 2.
We're up to 2. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Beis. B'Saych Shiva. Well, someone is Chas v'Shalom Lo Yaleinu is sitting in the middle of Shiva, right? They're saying sitting Shiva. Bein Shu Katan or Bein Gadol, whether he's a Katan or a Gadol. Now, one second. Let me just understand something. Hold on. I want to clarify one thing. The Kaddish was originally instituted. This Kaddish Yosem was instituted for children, right? Because children can't go to the Amid. They can't lead the community. They can't lead the congregation, a child. So the Anshe Knesset Gadola designed this idea of Kaddish, that Lo Yaleinu, if a child would have to say Kaddish, if it would lose a parent. If a child would lose a parent, he's under bar mitzvah, right? And he would lose his parent, he could do something. He can demonstrate something. You understand? You follow? You understand that?
Yeah. So he was able to say.
So
Kaddish.
he's able to say Kaddish. Yeah, children say Kaddish. Yes. Unfortunately, it's a very eerie feeling when you see the child saying Kaddish, right? What? It's a very eerie feeling, right? Yeah, but it was meant for them. Because otherwise that poor child can't do anything publicly to demonstrate his mourning. Right? So therefore the answer, I'm just trying to explain to you why the Kaddish was originally instituted. Okay?
So he doesn't sit Shiva?
He sits Shiva. That's for himself. But he wants to he can't go up there and he can't lead the community.
Right.
You understand? He can't do that because he's not old enough. Right, okay. Besides Shiva, Bein Shu Katan or Bein Gadol. Whether he's a Katan or a Gadol, doesn't matter. Okay, Bein Toishav or Bein Eirech. Doesn't matter if he's a dwelling in the place, he's an actual guy that lives in the community, or he's a guest. He's a guest in the community. Yesh lo kol hakadeshim v'doicha kol ha'avelim. So in other words, if a person doesn't have a minyan in his house, right, and he has to come to the shul, right? It happens sometimes, okay? They come to the shul. So if the avel is in the shul, he trumps everyone else. He gets all the kadeshim. Now again, we're saying these are the laws the way it used to be. And in some communities, there was only one person that would say the Kaddish. Again, we're not used to this because we're going to learn further on in here that it was instituted that in order to avoid all the different fights that go on between the Avelim. They go, well, why did he come here today? This was my minyan. How come he came in here? And all of that. We don't have to worry about these things. Everyone says Kaddish in unison. Okay, but we're learning now, this is the ideas when only one person would say the Kaddish. Okay, well, there's only one. So in this case where the Avel walks in, even if a guy has a yard site, doesn't matter. The mourner that's in the Shiva would take all the Kadeshim. Okay? Shiva. Now wait, here's the chiddush. What happened if a holiday came and then it canceled the shiva? So he can still sit in the aval and b'soich hashiva? V'chein la'achar shiva shemevatel gezeira shloishim. Or even after the shiva, is sometimes, like for example, when it comes to Sukkot, right? right? So Sukkot would be mevatel, let's say the Shiva, right? If someone died before Sukkot, let's say someone Chas v'Shalom died Erev Sukkot, right? They buried the person Erev Sukkot. So Sukkot comes, cancels the Shiva, right? Sukkot comes, cancels the Shiva. Shmini Atzeres comes and cancels the Shloshim. It's another holiday, right?
Yeah.
You realize that, right?
No. The whole solution is cancelled?
Cancel because of the holiday. Or if the person was in the middle of Shloshim, wait a second. Or if the person was in the middle of a Shloshim and Sukkot came, cancels it. A holiday cancels the thing, cancels.
It doesn't renew after the Sukkot.
No, cancels. Mivato, but bittel, what's bittel mean?
So Rav Nachman, he was nifter on Yom Shlishi, right? Chol HaMoed.
Yes.
So he didn't have any shiva and any shloshim.
No. If they die, no. So if they die in middle of Sukkot, so then I think what happens then the shiva is canceled because
No, the shiva can't start.
even though.
I think so.
Yeah, it's a little different. Okay, I'm not sure. I'm talking. This is the case before, right? Before it's definitely canceled, right? Rav Shalom, you agree with that? Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure if there's a shiva, but there's definitely a shloshim. We'll see. Okay. Le'inyan kaddish einay mevatel, but the kaddish is not mevatel. In other words, this guy that the shiva was canceled, but he still has to say the kaddish. This guy is still saying the Kaddish. V'chein lo ya'amrinan le'inyan Kaddish mixas hayoim kikulai. And you don't say, okay, now on the seventh day, you do a concept that's called mixas hayoim kikulai. What does that mean? A person sits Shiva for 7 days. But the seventh day, they only sit for an hour in the morning. You don't sit a full 7 days. No one does that. Why? Because of the concept mixas hayoim kikulai, a part of the day is like the whole day. So if the person sits Shiva for an hour in the day on the seventh day, right? Then he goes for his walk, he goes around the block, whatever the minig is, whatever the minig is, and then the Shiva is canceled. It's finished, it's over, right? But as far as the Kaddish goes, it's not. As far as the Kaddish goes, it's not. Now by Mincha time on Yom HaShvi, Yesh loy kol HaKadeshim, he still gets all the Kadeshim, even though he's not in the middle of the Shiva. You understand? Umaynim shiva u'shleishim miyoyim hakvura. Here's another thing people don't necessarily know. You start the shiva at the time the person was buried.
Right.
Not at the time the person died, but the time the person buried. And that's how you count the shiva and the shloshim, based on the date of burial. But let's say, now today we don't understand these things, but let's say the father passed away in a town that was maybe in another country. He lived in another country, right? And he didn't know that the father passed away. And then he finds out later, then he has to sit shiva. Right? That's the way it works, right? When it comes to Kaddish, he doesn't have the din of Shiva. He may have Shiva, but he doesn't have the din of Shiva, or the person died during the regel. Right? Like we just asked Sasha, right? Mm-hmm. Died during the regel. It goes from the day of the Kfura. So if they, in other words, the regel, he means maybe if it was on the holiday itself. On the well, so then you could bury on Cholamoid. There's no problem. But maybe he meant over here, when it comes to the regel, he means it was on Yontiv itself. What? Maybe it was on Yontiv itself. Although you can do Kfura on Yontiv. You could do Kfura on Yontiv. Someone passed away, they could be buried on Yontiv.
Shabbos, no.
Not Shabbos, no, not Shabbos. On Yontiv, yes. On Yontiv, yes. All right, well, we'll continue. Mitzvah Hashem. We shouldn't have to know these things, but
so the cotton has the same responsibility during this period as an adult.
Yeah. And to say the Kaddish.
Yeah.
So that's the Chiddush. So if the kid would come to shul, you can have a 5 or 6 year old kid that knows how to read the Kaddish, right? Yeah. And then you have a guy that's there for his yard site. So the yard site guy gets canceled because the kid says the Kaddish.
If they know the halacha.
If they, okay. Well, listen, that's what we're learning, so you know what the halach is. But again, today, in most shuls, I don't know if there's any, I never was davening in a shul today that there's only one guy that says Kaddish.
Right. I found it one time.
You did find it one time?
It was a shul. I don't know if they were like, the people who were in Shmat Evel, I think they said the Kaddish together. But, there's a special Kaddish at the end of the tefillah just for the yard site.
Okay, all right, listen. Okay, so no, there's different, again, he keeps saying it's based on the minhag. It goes based on it, but I've never davened in a shul where there was only one person saying Kaddish. And that's a beautiful thing because again, there's no machlokes. No one has any hakpada on the guy. He's not the hakpada. Hey, why did you come to my shul? Why did you stay in your shul?
Yeah.
We're gonna learn these things in Matzah Hashem. The main thing is we should all have a wonderful day in Matzah Hashem, and we should all hear B'Sayros Tayvos, and we should all greet Mashiach Tzidkeinu B'Karav Yameinu Mamish.